Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really thrilled to be here today at the Real Estate Future Forum, and it's a great honor to share the stage with you, Jerry. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Philippe.
So, Jerry Inzirello, you are the Group CEO of the Diriyah company. Jerry leads the extraordinary Diriyah project that is blending Saudi Arabia's cultural heritage with modern urban innovation. This is a project I'm truly passionate about, so really happy to spend the next 30 minutes talking about the project with you. So let's start with a vision. It all starts with a vision. Can you tell us more about the vision for the project of Diriyah, how it came up, and how it contributes to the greater vision of transforming the kingdom?
Yes, thank you. Salam alaikum, and a great pleasure to be with you, Philippe. Let me just thank His Excellency for having us today, and to give my sincere congratulations to two of my beloved colleagues on the amazing, amazing job they're doing at Miss City and King Salman Park, David and George that we just heard from, and referencing the great work that Jane McGovern is doing at the Sport Boulevard. So Diriyah is the birthplace of the kingdom. It is the ancestral home of Al Saud. It is the source of our national identity and the source of the national pride. So when you have something that even in the modern Saudi state, the third Saudi state is 94 years, and going back to the first Saudi state of 300 years, which we will celebrate for the fourth time, thanks to the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman, who we praise and send our love every day to. Him and His Royal Highness, our dynamic Crown Prince, allowed us to have a second holiday, Founding Day, on February 22nd, which we'll celebrate for the fourth time, because that honors the 300-year history of Diriyah, in addition to our beloved National Day on September 23rd. So the idea was, how do we keep and preserve our rich cultural heritage of at least 300 years, open up the kingdom in the mother city of Riyadh, the G20 city of Riyadh, and use it as one of the giga projects in its complementary of what would be needed by the society, and allowing 27 million people to come to see the birthplace of the kingdom. So what our DNA is that makes us unique is that we are the celebration of culture and heritage. Where did Arabia start? Diriyah. Where is the home of Al Saud? Did that lead to the prosperity of the Gulf? Clearly, right? Will it lead to better quality of life in the decades to come? Mm-hmm. And that's one of the manifestos, as George said, of Vision 2030, because as a first manifesto, it's not an end game, it's a step along the way. What will quality be like 2030, 2040, 2050? And His Royal Highness has put these building blocks into place. So Diriyah is very, very important because it's not just a destination, it's the source of Saudi pride and Saudi identity, and that has to be preserved for generations to come.
Fantastic. So heritage, culture, the history of the kingdom is at the core of the vision of Diriyah. But at the same time, you're developing one of the largest urban districts in Riyadh, a city within the city, that also brings modernity, innovation. So how do you blend heritage with innovation? How do you balance the two?
Well, this is where it's super easy to praise His Royal Highness. And all my fellow CEOs all agree on one thing. There is a misconception in the world that modernity is in conflict with the preservation of rich cultural heritage, national identity. They're actually not. And in His Royal Highness's vision, how can we use the best technology to benefit the human experience while at the same time preserving who we are as a people, right? Mm-hmm. So there is a very definitive Saudi culture of music, costuming, dance, food, but it's richly different in all 13 provinces. If you come to Diriyah, it's much different than Jeddah. If you go to Jeddah, it's much different than Dammam, much different now than Tabuk and Neom, right? So how can we welcome people from all over the world to principally do three things? Number one, probably one of the greatest things in the world is to allow 2 billion Muslims to feel welcomed on a life's dream to fulfill a pilgrimage to the two holy cities of Mecca and Medina as the custodian of the two holy mosques, which the kingdom is. Number two, to come to a rich, diverse country. You know, if you take the 6 GCC countries, a lot of people don't know this. The 5 other GCC countries, beautiful in their own way, all fit into the state of California. But Saudi is 5 times the size of California. The Egyptians, our brothers and sisters who we love, they're famous for the Red Sea. They control 21% of the Red Sea, but Saudi controls 45% of the Red Sea. We have the largest sand desert, the largest palm groves, right? So there's so much to do around the kingdom with its own distinct personality, right? Which Diriyah is. You know, obviously the 2 swords and the palm tree, the symbol of the nation. The Arda, the national dance, originated in Diriyah. So these are very, very important things. And now welcoming, it was 100 million, as you know, but now His Royal Highness has moved it up to 150 million visits by 2030. So just very quickly, you know, for us, our leadership, to have and host the Asian Football Games 2027 to Riyadh, 2029 to have the full Winter Games in our Neom city of Trojena, where most people in the world don't know that it snows in Saudi Arabia. That would be transformative, right? Then everybody thought, well, you know, the Saudis have a chance, but will they have the leadership to win the Expo? And we won it on the first ballot to have the Expo in Riyadh for 2030, which clearly, if you listen to His Royal Highness's vision, will be the best Expo. Then the World Cup 2034, and I'm sure there are many other events that will be programmed to the kingdom. This is to have self-esteem, that the kingdom is capable of producing and staging anything, science, technology, art, culture, and then to welcome people from all over the world to see the birthplace of Arabia, the ancestral home of Al Saud, and the only one Diriyah.
Jerry, you talked earlier about quality of life. And we've talked about it a lot, you know, in the past together. It's really important for you, close to your heart, to make sure that Diriyah is offering a superior quality of life, a superior lifestyle experience to the residents, the visitors, the whole community of Diriyah. How do you see this superior quality of life happening?
Well, you see, everything, you know, having the honor, and I say that from my heart, to have seen His Royal Highness's vision in practice. June will be 7 years for me. But pretty much everything that motivates him is quality of life. Are my people safe? Are they educated? Are they healthy? Are they entertained? Are they trained? Are they joyful? Are they festive? Is their self-esteem? So now, with us, we're 82% Saudi. We're 39% Saudi women. 16% of those Saudi women are in leadership and they're rock stars. But the thing I'm most proud about is 14% of my staff, now 3,200, are from our community of Diriyah, right? So with these big projects that are difficult in the early years, land acquisition, demolition, dusty, noisy, trucks, you know, it's painful in a lot of ways to fulfill a vision, right? So we want to show the community that the community itself will benefit from quality of life. So here's where it comes in. We've already finished 9 kilometers of parks where you can take a horse and a bicycle, a skateboard. You see families by the thousands picnicking. You see the fabulous work at MISC where they're connected to the Wadi Hanifa now. The unbelievable job that George has done in King Salman Park on quality of life, what's happening in Qiddiya now, quality of life. It's really all coming together. So quality of life is very important. His Royal Highness saw Diriyah as a walkable pedestrian city. So that's why we had to put all the smart city technology underground. It was not easy. As you know, you've been with us every day. We had a core drilled through 10 million cubic meters of rock. We took out 700,000 rock loads to put 60,000 parking spots underground, all deliveries, all garbage, all circulatory systems, tour bus, Ubers, all new fiber optics, electric. You know, we just opened 2 of our big power stations. So infrastructurally, on a 2030 project, we're about 75% done on infrastructure. This will benefit quality of life.
Amazing. You hinted at some of them, but when we pass by Diriyah, we see Boujerie that is up and running. We see a lot of the buildings that are shaping up. It's fantastic progress. I can imagine that the past 6 years have not been a walk in the park, right? Can you tell us more about some of the big challenges that you have faced, right, to start to bring this project to life?
You know, the kingdom had a spectacular Davos. And in praise of His Royal Highness, he felt it was so important that the kingdom sent 10 of its ministers. And they were amazing. And all the talk in Davos was about 2 things: AI and how great the Saudis are doing, right? This makes us very happy. But one of the journalists asked me a question and said, as CEO of a 14 million square meter, $64 billion project, how often are you managing a problem? That was the question from the journalist. I said to them, hourly. It's not even telling. You know, you have the jobs that we have. We call them, in my family, we call them hot potatoes. Every hour you got something. But I'll tell you the complexity of Diriyah now, which is actually a good thing. We're in the middle of Riyadh, and we have 40,000 workers on site now. Ready for this? This is really remarkable because we have a Saudi, Isaac, who heads up my safety and security program. 40,000 workers. You ready for this? We just finished, outside certified, 209 million construction man hours, and I'm knocking on wood. You see the wood? Without a fatality. Right? This shows how important quality of life, safety, and security is in his eyes of His Royal Highness. Our workers will be treated with dignity and respect. We have the best contractors in the world. We just won Best Place to Work again, like my other colleagues have. But here's the complexity. Last night we had 11,000 people enjoying Diriyah season, Layali Diriyah, the UNESCO World Heritage Site, and Boujerie Terrace, right? My fabulous protocol team that are here with me now, yesterday we had 11 delegations. And, you know, very important people. You know, we, right after this session, we'll have the benefit of hearing from the former American President, William Jefferson Clinton, Bill Clinton, who's just fabulous, right? So last night, a number of Saudi ministers welcomed him. We welcomed him to one of the more beautiful farms in Diriyah. So now you're operating because you're doing 75, 100,000 people a week. Your protocol because everybody's coming to visit the kingdom, right? And you're building a 14 million square meter project. So very complex. We happen to have a fabulous staff. Built with great leaders for the future. So that's the thing that's complex, but that I'm most positive about.
You talked about all the delegations that you host regularly. Diriyah is clearly a must visit in Riyadh, right? And you have really put Diriyah on the global map. How do you do that, Jerry? How do you put such a project on the global map in such a way?
Well, you know, I've spent 50 years in tourism, and I believe that tourism is ambassadorial for bringing people together. We have always said that today will be one of the great gathering places in the world. You walk in Boujerie last night, Chinese, Japanese, Omanis, Qataris, Emiratis, all over. Everybody enjoying themselves, listening to music, eating beautiful food. Now the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Taif is the largest night-lit UNESCO site. Absolutely beautiful at night. So now people are coming from all over the world. You look at the leadership of GACA, and you look with His Excellency Salih Al-Jasser and what's happening in transportation. You look at the fabulous job that Saudi Tourism is doing. You look at the fabulous job that Ministry of Culture is doing, right? Turki Al-Sheikh, His Excellency, and the General Entertainment Authority. His Royal Highness, Prince Abdulaziz bin Turki Al Faisal on sport. So now people are coming from all over the world to see Saudi, and they're going home happy because they're seeing genuine Saudi hospitality, mostly by young Saudis who are very fired up and positive. You know, so this is how you put it on the map. And we really, really have to give credit to His Royal Highness because he's given us the resources to surround ourselves with the best and brightest people to put Saudi on the map. And by 2030, when these giga projects are really out of the ground, you won't recognize Riyadh by 2030.
Now, let's look at Diriyah as a company and not as a project for a minute. You are an employer of choice, right? Very attractive for talent, for young Saudi talent in the kingdom. You have built a very, very strong team. And what I believe is also a fantastic corporate culture, right? Can you tell us more? How would you describe the overall culture of the Diriyah company?
Yes, this is a very important thing, and this is not unique to Diriyah, but it is unique to the Giga projects, and now you're seeing it throughout the ministries. His Royal Highness feels you must give the entrepreneurs the ability to have the funds to train everybody to be the best embodiment of themselves. So His Royal Highness is not looking for a competent staff for 1 year or 2 years. He's thinking about what are my leaders for the next 10, 20, 30 years throughout all the Giga project. Now with Diriyah, we believe that when you come to work, you are entitled as a moral imperative to be treated with dignity and self-respect. Everybody. So there's a very strict code of conduct of how you interact with each other. Now, we're lucky because the kingdom right now is running on abundant energy of positivity and optimism. All the young Saudis who were super educated abroad are all coming home. Now His Royal Highness is presenting unbelievable resources to take the Saudis that are staying in the kingdom to have the best universities and to train everybody to come up. So we believe very much in employee culture. We believe very much to be the embodiment of how you see yourself, right? And we will give you the resources to work towards that. What I say to everybody is this is one of the few countries in the world now where the only thing in between you and your dreams and aspirations is your work ethic, like His Royal Highness. He works an 80-hour week. Your ability to expedite and get things done, and your ability to work as a team and believe in the future. You know, when we say there's only one Diriyah, what does it mean? Where did it come from? It means every individual, everyone, is responsible to deliver their work to fulfill Vision 2030. We're one family. In our victories, we celebrate. When you do these complex projects, you're going to make some mistakes. His Royal Highness is okay with that, providing you learn from the mistakes and don't do them together. We're unified under one Vision 2030. All are welcome to come to the kingdom to see genuine Saudi hospitality in a beautiful country, and Diriyah is the birthplace.
Fantastic, and the energy and positivity of your teams, I can tell you, is contagious. What is also very exciting as a Riyadh resident is to see the offering that is coming online, that is coming available. Can you tell us more about what's coming in the next few weeks, in the next few months? What are the openings that are planned?
Yes, so we just opened up our first of 42 hotels, our Bab Salman Hotel. Fabulous because it's built in a strict Najder typology. One of my great friends who's an architect right here in the first row was there last night, had a big time. So now the hotels will open. We opened Prince Badr's first of 9 museums, which is called Diriyah Art Futures, and absolutely beautiful. I'm thrilled to say that we're selling a lot of our residential real estate And then when we go to Cityscape in November, we'll be putting several hundred units on the market for the mid-level buyer, not just a high-level buyer. We now are getting ready in April to soft open Zalal, which will be 23 new businesses. Some people call it Bajeti #2, but its historic name is Zalal. We just finished 9 kilometers of parks that the public and our visitors can enjoy. We just finished the Greg Norman 27-hole golf course in Wadi Sfar, and the country club that accompanies it will be done this year. So we have 2 more very complex years of infrastructure. Land acquisition is done, but demo and dust and dirt is still more for 25 and 26. But every single year now, we will open assets that the public and our guests from abroad can enjoy up until we get to the finish point of DG1, which will be the greatest expo ever done, which is Riyadh Expo 2030.
Fantastic. And that's actually my last question, Jerry. Then how do you see the next 5 years, right? I guess you have a plate full for the next 5 years, but how do you see?
Well, I think all the CEOs would agree on one thing. Let's round it off to 6 years until 2030.
Yes.
You know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, we still had to convince a lot of people that what His Royal Highness's vision wasn't just renderings or concept or theoretical. All the heads of state that are coming now, we had President Macron from France with us a few weeks ago. We had Prime Minister Starmer from United Kingdom. His Royal Highness hosted Prime Minister Meloni from Italy in the winter camp of the staggeringly beautiful Alula. And everybody now is saying, Your Royal Highness, I can't believe that your vision's coming out of the ground. So if you roll it 6 years forward, not 6 years back, the country will be completely transformed. The spectacular job that, especially for the Real Estate Forum, I was just talking with His Excellency on what's happening in all Saudi cities now in terms of housing, the National Housing Authority, the great work being done by Roshan, the great work for all the giga projects. You know, Qiddiya made a big announcement on the Six Flag and the water park. So the kingdom will be unrecognizable. But what I would say for sure by 2030, even though I believe it now, and that is that the kingdom with its leadership now is capable of hosting any global event on any way, and not just hosting it, being the best host of that thing, whether it be a World Cup, an expo, whatever.
Jerry, thank you so much for sharing your incredible insights and your vision. Daria is not just a project. Actually, it's a really living, breathing example of how you bring heritage to life and how you bring it, you know, in the modern world. How you contribute to Vision 2030 to our audience. I hope today's conversation has, you know, inspired you. And Jerry, thank you so much again for your very inspiring.
Thank you. Only one today, all right?
Yes.
Thanks, Pete.